Snow fell quietly over Chicago that December night, softening the city's noise, covering everything in white. Inside her apartment, Emily sat by the window, her knees pulled to her chest, staring at the streetlights glowing against the snow. She had finished another long, tiring day at the publishing house. Deadlines piled on her desk, her boss barely noticed her efforts, and the holidays only made her loneliness heavier. She had grown used to the silence, but some nights, like this one, it pressed down harder than she could handle. Her phone buzzed suddenly, breaking her thoughts. She picked it up, half expecting another work email, but froze when she saw the name on the screen. Daniel. She hadn't seen that name pop up in years. Memories rushed back all at once: late-night study sessions in the campus library, cheap coffee runs during finals week, laughter over silly things that didn't matter, but somehow felt important at the time. Daniel was a piece of her past she had tucked away, thinking it would never return. The message was simple. Hey Emily, I'm in town for a few days. Any chance we could catch up? Her heart gave a strange leap. Years had passed, yet reading those words felt like slipping into a familiar rhythm. She typed back quickly, almost too quickly. Yes. When? They agreed to meet the next evening at a small cafe downtown. The following day, Emily stood outside the cafe, brushing snowflakes from her coat, feeling her nerves tangle. What if he had changed so much she barely recognized him? What if he looked at her and only saw a stranger? But as soon as she walked in and saw him seated at the corner table, all her doubts melted away. Daniel looked older, yes, but in a way that suited him. His jaw was stronger, his posture more confident, yet his eyes held the same warmth she remembered. When he smiled at her, she felt the years fall away. Emily, he said, standing up to greet her. His voice was deeper, steadier, but it carried the same ease that once made her trust him with secrets she hadn't told anyone else. Their conversation flowed, as though no time had passed. They laughed about professors they once feared, recalled nights when they stayed awake until sunrise, and filled each other in on the years between. Daniel had been traveling often for work, moving from one city to another, always chasing the next project. Emily shared her quieter life, her job, her routines. Somewhere in the middle of their laughter, Emily felt something stir inside her, something she thought had been buried long ago. But then Daniel's tone shifted. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table, his expression serious. Emily, he said carefully, I need to ask you something. And it's not what you think. The weight in his voice made her heart skip. She tilted her head, trying to guess, but his eyes gave nothing away. He looked almost nervous, which unsettled her even more. She forced a light laugh. You're making this sound dramatic. What is it? Daniel hesitated, then exhaled slowly. Would you come with me tomorrow night? I need someone I can trust by my side. Emily blinked, taken off guard. She expected him to ask for a recommendation at her publishing house, or maybe just another casual hangout. But this? Her mind raced. Where did he want to take her? Why her? After so many years of silence. She studied him, searching for answers in his face. His gaze didn't waver. It wasn't playful or careless. It was steady, earnest, almost vulnerable. And something in that look told her he wasn't asking lightly. Her first instinct was to ask a dozen questions. She wanted to know everything before she agreed. But there was also something thrilling about the uncertainty, about the way he was pulling her into a moment that felt bigger than both of them. Before she even realized it, her lips formed the word, yes. Daniel's shoulders relaxed instantly, and a grateful smile spread across his face. Thank you, Emily. You have no idea how much this means. As they said goodbye outside the cafe, snow still falling softly around them, Emily felt the strange rush of stepping into the unknown. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, or why Daniel had chosen her to stand beside him after all these years. But one thing she did know, her life had been stuck in quiet routines for too long. And maybe, just maybe, this was the moment everything would change. Walking back home through the snowy streets, Emily kept replaying his words in her head. I need someone I can trust. The way he had looked at her carried a weight that made her chest tighten. It wasn't flirtation or casual charm. It was something deeper. She lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, her thoughts tangled. Why her? What was Daniel carrying that made him reach out after so many years? And why did she, without hesitation, say yes? The city slept around her, but Emily's mind spun. Somewhere between fear and excitement, she knew tomorrow would not be just another day. She had said yes to something she didn't understand, and in her heart, she sensed it would change everything. The next evening, Emily stood outside a hall near Chicago's riverfront, clutching her coat tighter against the cold. The building looked grand, glowing with golden lights. People in elegant clothes walking in and out. She still had no idea what she had agreed to. All she knew was that Daniel had asked her to be here, and for some reason, she had trusted him enough to say yes. When Daniel arrived, his smile carried the same warmth as before, but Emily noticed the nervous energy in his movements. He adjusted his tie too often, checked his watch more than once. She raised a brow. Okay, Daniel. I've waited long enough. What exactly is this? He chuckled softly, rubbing the back of his neck. It's a charity event. But not just that. I've been working on this project for months. Tonight is the night it all comes together. And I needed someone who really knows me here. Inside, the hall buzzed with music and conversation. Chandeliers lit up the polished wooden floors, and tables sparkled with glasses of wine. Emily followed Daniel through the crowd, her heart racing. She had expected a dinner, or maybe a quiet gathering, not a room filled with important people in suits and gowns. Daniel explained as they walked. The event was raising funds for families who had lost their homes after unexpected tragedies. He had organized it with his team, but tonight he wasn't just the planner. He was also the keynote speaker. The truth is, he admitted, his voice dropping lower, I'm terrified of public speaking. I can lead teams, handle crises, negotiate contracts. But standing in front of a room like this? It scares me. Emily blinked, her heart softening. So you asked me here, to cheer you on. He smiled sheepishly. In college, you always gave me courage. When I was ready to quit, you pushed me forward. I guess I thought maybe you could do the same tonight. For a moment, Emily didn't know what to say. She had imagined so many possibilities about why he had called her, but not this. And yet, it touched her more than she expected. Out of everyone he knew, he had chosen her. Not for business advice, not for romance, but for trust. When the moment arrived, Daniel stepped onto the stage, the room falling quiet. Emily sat near the front, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes locked on him. He looked out at the crowd, his jaw tight, his hands gripping the edges of the podium. For a split second, she thought he might freeze. But then his eyes found hers. Emily gave him the smallest nod, the kind of nod that said, I believe in you. And something shifted in him. His voice began soft, a little shaky. But with each sentence it grew steadier. He spoke about the families he had met, the struggles he had seen, the importance of helping each other when the world feels impossible. He spoke with sincerity, with conviction, with heart. The room leaned in, listening closely. By the time he finished, there were tears in more than a few eyes. And when applause filled the hall, Daniel's gaze went straight to Emily again, gratitude shining in his expression. Afterward, As the crowd mingled and congratulated him, Daniel slipped away to find her. "You have no idea what that nod meant," he said, his voice low, almost breathless. "I don't think I could have done it without you." Emily felt warmth spread through her chest. "You didn't need me, Daniel. You had it in you all along." He shook his head, smiling. "No. You reminded me it was there." They left the hall together, stepping into the cold night. Snowflakes drifted down, catching the glow of the streetlights. The city hummed softly in the distance. But here, on this quiet street by the river, everything felt still. Daniel stopped, his breath visible in the frosty air. "Emily," he began, hesitating as though weighing his words carefully. "I didn't just want you here because I was nervous. I wanted you here because I've missed you. All these years, through all the places I've been, you've stayed in my memory. I don't know why it took me this long to reach out. But now that I have, I don't want to lose touch again." Her heart caught at his words. She hadn't expected this, not tonight, not after so much time apart. But the sincerity in his voice was undeniable. He wasn't asking for a promise, or a label, or even an answer. He was simply telling her the truth. Emily smiled softly, her voice steady. "You asked me for something unexpected, Daniel. And I said yes. Maybe I'll keep saying yes." They both laughed quietly at that, the tension easing, though beneath the laughter was something deeper, unspoken. As they walked together through the falling snow, side by side, Emily realized this night was more than a reunion. It was a beginning. Life had felt heavy and quiet for so long, but now, something inside her had shifted. And she knew whatever came next, this yes had opened the door to a future she hadn't dared imagine.